Hi, I'm Lisa Solomon. I live in Oakland, California, where my studio is. This is Cellular Memory, a mini retrospective of work I've been making over the last couple decades. Everything I do is kind of rooted in something I'm interested in, and then I do a heck of a lot of research, and then I make a body of work surrounding that. On this wall, there's a series of self-portraits. And this stemmed from my last exhibition, where I was really grappling with a lifetime of the question, but where are you from? I've been asked my entire life, and there's always this kind of like strange wanting to put me in a box behind it, like not quite being able to figure out what I am or who I am, and people really needing to know that information. And then these big portraits behind me over here are the places where I actually have heritage. So I checked in with my dad, and I remember my grandparents talking about where their parents were from. And so I decided I wanted to do kind of like mug shots. So it's like me and then 3/4 and then profile. And luckily there's 5 places that I have real heritage from. Then there's a series of works from a show that I did that was about Japanese internment, the internment camps. I had never learned about that my entire life growing up in California. And you only had to be 1/16 Japanese to be put into the camps. So immediately my mind was like, well, my mom would have to go, I would have to go, my kid would have to go. And so thinking about that and researching that, it was heavy, but also kind of oddly cathartic. So there's a series of photographs in the exhibition that I researched. They all have either kind of like racial slurs about wanting Japs to go away. There was also a whole series of, they called the internment evacuation, as if they were evacuating people, but really they were just putting people into camps. And there were all these sales that people who had businesses were having. And they would put up signs that said, you know, closing out, evacuation sale. So it seemed like something that's kind of pleasant, but it's actually not pleasant at all. And I decided I needed to modify them somehow. So I cut out all the letters. Because those were the parts that were really offensive. So I painted them and then painstakingly took them out, and then I decided that I wanted to have some kind of symbol of resistance behind them. So I screen printed a wave pattern, and this wave pattern in particular is supposed to be symbolic of kind of like resilience. So it's a really typical pattern that you've probably seen on like pottery and on clothing. It's kind of like a repetitive. It's done in sashiko stitching as well. And so I screen printed that and put it behind. So if you look really closely through the letters, you can see like this peak of resistance or resilience kind of behind it. And then lastly, we have the giant knots behind me. In a prior exhibition, I did a lot of work around the number 1,000, which is a number in Japanese culture that symbolizes luck. I was really inspired. I went to see Sanju-sendo, which is the 33-foot long temple in Kyoto that has 1,000 Buddhas, and that's kind of what stemmed this body of research. I did 3 exhibitions on the number 1,000. And so for this exhibition, I had kind of wanted to do this pattern. This is called amime. It's a net pattern, and again, like the wave pattern, it is constant in Japanese culture. It's on a lot of kimonos. It's supposed to be kind of like good luck for the fishermen. It's also on, if you've ever seen like a Japanese glass float, this is the rope net that kind of protects that float from breaking. So I was always curious if I could pull off this knot pattern within this wave idea. And so it also has kind of 5 different shades of blue, starting with a really dark indigo at the top, obviously because indigo is big, like shibori dyeing, like lots of different things in Japanese culture have that indigo color. But again, I didn't want it to just kind of sit in one color, so I created an ombre so that it has like a wave, not only literally a wave, but also a wave in color.